Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another action-packed, thrilling, non-stop episode of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show that is non-stop until it stops. And I am Mr. Warren Hayes, welcoming you, just as again, it's always good to do things in twos. You know, if you're going to have a slice of pizza, you should go ahead and have another slice of pizza. If you get a bus ticket, you should get a second bus ticket, for the ride back. So when you welcome someone, I think it's nice to go ahead and welcome that person a second time. Makes them feel more appreciated, right? And you come off as a very gracious host. That's me, Mr. Warren Hayes. Call me gracious host Warren Hayes. Or Warren gracious host Hayes. Yeah. Warren G.H. Hayes. There you go. Thank you for coming over on my YouTube channel. Or maybe you just found this video. My YouTube channel is over at tinyurl.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. If if you're just hanging around and you're like, what's this guy? What's he doing? We're going to be talking about SmackDown Live. This is my SmackDown Live review/recap show. And we're going to be reviewing the September 25th, 2018 edition of the Blue Brand, which aired from Denver, Colorado. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff. This was a really fun episode of SmackDown Live. You know what? Two pretty good episodes of WWE programming back to back, main roster shows, I found were a lot of fun this week. Thought Raw was a blast last night. And tonight again. Last night. I'm confused. On Monday, Raw was really good, and last night, SmackDown was really good as well. So, what's going on? Have they decided to actually be creative and try some stuff out? Oh, I'm being facetious. No. We're going to be positive. That's important. But the show has been, both shows were really good. Can't wait to talk about it, but before we slide in, I want to tell you about what's coming up for your boy Warren tonight. It's Wednesday. If you're watching this on the 26th, on September 26th, it's a Wednesday. And these days, WWE Network on Wednesdays is, it's stacked, man. 205 Live, NXT, plus the Mae Young Classic. I'm going to be watching those. And then right after the Mae Young Classic, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be jumping onto the live stream over at FightfulSelect.com, and I am going to be doing my weekly recap show. And perchance you already know what FightfulSelect.com is. If you don't know, well, it is the elite subscription service reserved for elite people who visit Fightful.com and want more content than what you already find on the website, on top of all the news and exclusives that you get on the reg. Like the kids say, you get at FightfulSelect.com, once you become a member, you get a ton of extra content. You get members-only podcasts, the Weekender podcast, which is done by managing editor Sean Ross Sapp, goes over the week in wrestling, talks about news, reviews, non-WWE programming like Lucha Underground, Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan, whatever he can get his hands on, being the elite, 12 pounds of gold, injury reports. He goes through it all in one podcast. He's a machine. You get my weekly 205 Live podcast. You get monthly retro pay-per-view podcasts, which I do with Sean. So we go back into the extensive vault of WWE's network, and we find a pay-per-view to review. We talk about it, see how it matches up. Is it still fun to watch today? We pull out anecdotes from the past. We look at it a bit on from a historical perspective as well. A lot of fun to do. Sean also does dark match commentary, and you get all sort. You can get sneak peeks at stuff as well. Man, dudes, dudettes, I don't know what you're doing. $5 a month. You come in screaming. You get all that great content plus more, just for $5. There's higher tiers, higher membership tiers as well. Go check it out. FightfulSelect.com. That's a good place to get even more Warren Hayes. But Warren Hayes, man, he's spreading himself thin. Going bananas. I'm gonna get a lot of sleep this week. I'm gonna go to bed early. I'm gonna sleep in as much as I can, because next week, man, I'm gonna be busy. Next week I'm going to have the co-host of the Spees and the Benchmark show, Chris Spizak. He's gonna be joining me right here on the Warren Hayes show, as we together talk about, give our predictions, and discuss the Australian Super Showdown show, which will be happening next Saturday. So he's going to be joining me here. That's going to be exciting. Going to be a lot of fun. Then on the Saturday, right after the pay-per-view, right after Super Showdown, I'm going to be joining Sean over on Fightful.com, not FightfulSelect.com, Fightful.com. I'm going to be joining him for the post-show recap, so that's also going to be fun. And there's going to be more things coming around. Got a bunch of surprises up my sleeves. You can't see them because they're surprises. So that's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool things coming up. Having a great time. So yeah, hope you tune in for all that fantastic stuff. And like I said before, if you're watching this for the first time, you can find my YouTube channel at tinyurl.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. And if you're here, you can subscribe if you want. It helps. Every subscription helps on YouTube, especially on YouTube. So that's always a cool thing to do. You can also thumb this video up if you like it, or you can thumb down if you don't. And I'm not going to twist your arm to do either or. It's up to you. It's your decision. You're a free-willed, free-thinking human being. You can do whatever you want. But man, if you want to support what I do, subscriptions and thumbs ups and likes and shares and comments, that's the best way to go about doing it. Now, before we actually dive into the rest here, one final word on Liv Morgan. WWE announced today they made a statement, very short statement, updating us on the condition of Liv Morgan, and she does have a concussion, so she'll be going through concussion protocol. Now, there's two types of people right now out on Twitter. There are people who are defending Brie Bella. There are people who are crucifying her. Now, like I said last night, the night before, on yesterday. There we go. Man, me and days are complicated things. Like I was saying yesterday on my Raw recap, I like to keep a level head about things. And I'm not a type of person who goes right in irrationally hating stuff. I will irrationally like stuff, but irrationally hating, no. That's typically not something that I do. So I have nothing, absolutely nothing against the Bella twins. I have nothing against Brie Bella herself. I don't have an agenda. I have nothing to push here. And I feel that right now there are a lot of people who are pushing either on one side for protecting Brie Bella, maybe perhaps pushing a little too much, to protect women's wrestling in general, whereas other people are just pushing another kind of more insidious agenda where they don't like the Bellas and they just want them to disappear forever. Now, as far as I'm concerned, what happened last night was not last night, the night before on Raw. My God, what happened on Raw could have been prevented. It was entirely preventable. Since Brie has come back, she has been super, super sloppy in the ring. And I'm not talking like, her clotheslines look weak, she's not connecting her drop kicks. Not that kind of sloppy. She almost injured herself out of wrestling by performing 2 dives on Raw a few weeks ago. She's been potatoing her opposition. She decked Miz a couple of times right in the mouth. On Raw 2 nights ago, she elbowed Ruby Riott straight in the jaw. Not to mention those running knees that she hit on Zelina Vega again on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago, where I thought that she had lost her neck. I thought that's the snapback on it was ridiculous. And then this culminates with the yes kicks that took Liv Morgan out. Now, what I want to see happen here. Now, when I say this is preventable, let me go backtrack a little bit. When I say this was preventable, I really believe that if there had been management, like legitimate management of these situations, someone should have come out before we reached last Monday and say, look, Brie, you're going to have to tone some stuff down because it's not working. You're going to have to work a little harder. Something's going to happen, or we're going to have to pull you. Definitely with what happened on Monday, the best case scenario at this point is to just take Brie aside and say, look, right now, you are not in a condition to wrestle. You are not in shape to be in a wrestling ring right now. You haven't wrestled in over 2 years. Yeah, you've been training for a comeback, but it's not working. You need to take some time and set yourself back on track. This is what should be done, because as it stands right now, she is creating unsafe working environments for the competitors that she's in the ring with. This is more or less a knock. I'm not saying that she's not talented. I'm not saying that she can't do it. But what I am saying is that right now, and we've seen it happen over the course of 4 to 5 weeks since the Bella Twins came back. We have seen it almost every week. She has trouble delivering. And she's botching moves in a way that can create serious impediments to those who she's performing with. Liv was at the brunt of that. That's more or less on Brie. I think WWE management has a big part of responsibility in this for allowing Brie to return to the ring, do whatever she had been doing over the past few weeks and just turn a blind eye to it and said, no, she'll be fine. Or at least tell her, stop trying to wrestle like Daniel Bryan. You can't wrestle like Daniel Bryan. Not a lot of people in the world can wrestle like Daniel Bryan. That's why he's so good at what he does. So I'm talking about this again because my plea at this point is for everyone listening to this and who has taken position in this Brie Bella affair, approach this with a level head and leave your agendas aside. Right now, Brie she's a detriment to herself and to those in the ring. Let her take some time to get back into the ring, train some more, get back into shape, come back, perhaps even adjust her type of offense if need be. And I would be just as severe with any other wrestler, male or female. I would have the exact same opinion. I don't know how severe my opinion is, come to think about it. It feels pretty, it feels pretty level. But I would feel the exact same way, whether it'd be Daniel Bryan or Ty Dillinger or Asuka or Undertaker. If said wrestler over a short period of time did some very perform moves, failed to properly perform moves, and ended up having very serious repercussions or close to, I would ask the exact same thing. This goes beyond, at this point, at first it was like, let's just ask Brie to not do any dives again because she's going to kill herself. It goes beyond this now. It's like, come on, guys. Show her how to punch. Show her how to do a punch. Show her how to properly do yes kicks. Try to understand when she hits someone in the face, she has to stop. It's not wanton hate because I don't want her to be fired. I don't want her to be fired. I think she can be an asset. I think, she's part of WWE history. It's not the point. But she needs to be, there needs to be a realignment. She needs to take some time away from the ring to get back into shape so she can be in the ring again. That we don't have to be worried and cringe, wondering what's the next move that she's going to unfortunately mess up. Let's talk about some bold tweets every day. Now we're gonna get into, now that the serious stuff is out of the way. And you're not here for this heavy-handed discourse. You're here for Warren Hayes, talking bold tweets and mispronouncing things and just stuttering a lot. That's what you're here for. Don't blame you. That's what I'm here for too. Let's talk about some bold tweets every day. Not every day. Every Raw and SmackDown, I go on the Twitter thing and I ask my timeline to give me their bold predictions. Their boldest predictions. No, as I say in the tweets, no limp noodle predictions. Only the boldest predictions will do. And that's what we're going to do right here. We're going to see what kind of bold predictions people came up with for tonight's episode of SmackDown Live. First of all, we have Mike Baker, who says Lana dumps Rusev to go with Aiden, saying that she is tired of being in Rusev's shadow and Aiden can relate with her because Rusev used him too. Not only is this bold, but it's plausible with the events that happened tonight. Milwaukee. We'll keep an eye on this, Mike. I consider this a bold tweet, or at least when I prepared the tweets for tonight, I considered this a bold tweet, but maybe not so bold. Maybe a little prescient. Who knows? We'll see soon enough. We have Shell Bell, who's back on the bold tweet feed. Luke Harper will have a singles match with dueling banjos from Deliverance as his new theme music and this creepy kid on the Titantron. That is a bold prediction and would probably get Luke Harper over like that. I just want more Luke Harper in my life anyway. The Red State Democrat tells us Joey Ryan online shows up at SD Live. Samoa Joe kills him again. Then he has a rebirth at WrestleMania. And this is a super bold prediction. And you know what? Here's the thing, is that if Joey Ryan was to have a rebirth at WrestleMania, man, there would be dozens of Dick Druids who would be accompanying him to the ring. Like dozens upon dozens. And he'd probably come in on a Dick casket, driven in by a Dick hearse. Wasn't Dick Hurst a player for the Kansas City Royals in 1982? I don't know. Scott Howard comes in with his bold prediction. They recycled the Dominic paternity angle for the AJ Joe feud. Pretty bold. Pretty bold. I think, well, I mean, maybe after tonight they'd have something to talk about. Well, we'll see, but still a bold prediction. And finally, Roger Renman, or Renman. I like Roger Renman. I hope that's how it's pronounced. Samoa Joe shows up in an Eddie Guerrero I'm Your Poppy retro t-shirt. Again, very bold, but after tonight, it would be plausible for him to do this next week. Thank you, everyone, for sending in those bold predictions. We'll talk about more bold predictions next week on Raw, but right now we're going to talk about SmackDown Live, which starts off with a Miz TV. No, it is not Miz TV. It is Truth TV. Because R-Truth and Carmella are in the ring. Carmella sporting brown hair. Definitely moving on from the heel gimmick. They're in the ring. They invite Daniel Bryan to come to the ring. R-Truth, throughout this segment, has such a level of charm that you just want to bottle and keep with you, and sort of like open up whenever you feel a little down, a little sad, and you open up this bottle of R-Truth charm, and you're like, he was so fantastic, like so earnest. He was enjoying himself so much, doing the host shtick really well, but maintaining his semi-confused character as well. Man, what they're doing with Truth these days, fantastic. It's gold. R-Truth says he has a lot of questions for Daniel Bryan, and Carmella hands him reading glasses, but that, friends, is my only caveat of this segment, because that is gimmick infringement. The reading glasses, that's Sami Zayn's thing. Sheesh. That's low, Truth. Stealing the gimmick of someone who's injured, who can't defend himself, confront you backstage. Just you wait till Sami Zayn comes back. Eyeglass prescriptions on a pole match. Truth asks Bryan how cathartic it would be to go after The Miz and win the WWE title, and Daniel Bryan asks R-Truth, "Do you know what cathartic means?" And R-Truth's not quite sure. He says, "Well, I know what it means, but why don't you explain for everyone else?" I thought that's fantastic. Bryan wants to become WWE champion, and at the same time, he has unfinished business with The Miz. So yes, it would be very, very cathartic. But Miz interrupts, and he is not appreciative that R-Truth has his segment. Audience is chanting for Truth TV. They believe in this. R-Truth says, "Look, man, it's last week I beat you in the ring, and since you don't have a title, well, I just took your TV show." How can you not love this? This is perfect. Miz says, "You're an idiot." R-Truth says, "I'm an idiot with the talk show." This was so much fun. Miz basically starts cutting a promo on Bryan, though. Says that Bryan will never beat him because he's smart, he's not a coward, and he wins at all costs. And that's the reason he beat... and he says, "That's the reason I beat you at SummerSlam, at Hell in a Cell, and I'm going to beat you at the Super Showdown as well. That's because I do what I need to do to win." And he says, "You won't cheat because you'll otherwise tarnish the name of Daniel Bryan." R-Truth starts getting angry at Miz because all of Miz's talking his segment went over, so we won't be able to do his planned animal segment. And he's been banned. He's been banned from Truth TV for life. But he says he'll fight The Miz for the TV segment. And Miz, he's like, no, this is stupid. I'm not going to do that. And he goes backstage to complain over to Paige. Paige basically tells him, no, I think R-Truth has a point here. Why don't you go back out there and fight? And the winner gets the segment. All right, then. We get R-Truth versus The Miz, folks. And Truth is in control for most of the match. Honestly, Miz is trying to sneak in some sneaky offense. That's usually how you try to sneak in some offense. You try to that's usually how you get in some sneaky offense. You try to sneak it in. Yeah. It's a tactic. I know my wrestling. What are you talking about? Truth gets some big shoulder blocks to start. He clocks Miz with a big punch on the outside. Miz gets back in control with a kick, hits the yes kicks, does a test of strength that ends with the Miz hitting that ends with a backslide, and gets a cover for 2. Truth does his splits into a dodge, his splits dodge into a kick. Sorry, he suplexes into a jackhammer. Let's start this again. Hey, how you doing, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Truth does his split-legged dodge, and then hits a kick, suplex into a jawbreaker, which was really cool. Cover for 2. I mean, he's in his 40s. He's 40. What is he again? How old is R-Truth? Let's see again. I can't remember. How old is R-Truth? He's 46 years old, folks. I mean, there's stuff that he does here that I couldn't even do when I was 20. So the match comes to an end when the referee is a bit distracted, and Miz hits a thumb to the eyes, follows up with a skull-crushing finale, but he doesn't cover. He starts staring down Daniel Bryan, right? He's like looking straight at Daniel Bryan and looking at him very menacingly, and he's telling him, you see this? I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win. This is exactly what I'm telling about. You won't be able. And of course, he finishes the match with a patented Daniel Bryan running knee strike right onto R-Truth for the cover and the win. This was really good. I mean, let me start over again. This entire segment was really good. The match was fine. As impressive as R-Truth is in regards to what he does at his age, he's still an older guy doing the wrestling thing. So, maybe not as athletic, maybe not as versatile. Miz still able to pull out the best in everyone. So this was a fine match. There was nothing offensive about it. Nothing wrong with it. But the whole segment tied very well together. Fantastic storytelling, establishing very, very clearly the fact that Miz is ready to do whatever is needed to win. We already knew that. But I guess this will be the undercurrent of this leg of their feud. Final leg of their feud? Let me know what you think. Is this the final leg of Miz versus Daniel Bryan heading into the Australian Super Showdown? We get a taped earlier today this happened thing where Charlotte is posing. She's at a photo shoot, and suddenly Becky Lynch arrives out of nowhere and attacks the hell out of her, all the while wearing the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship around her waist, which I thought, that was perfect. She didn't take it off. She only took it off when it was time to pose winningly over Charlotte. And I like the fact, it was interesting. Becky Lynch was like, "Hey, photographer man, here, take pictures of me. Take pictures of me now. This is who you should be taking pictures of." Any respectable photographer wouldn't need to be asked to do it. He'd be like, "Oh my God, look at what's happening here," and he'd be just shutterbugging the whole thing. Shutterbugging? A shutterbug? You get the idea. I'm not sure if it's anything close to a real thing, but he'd shutterbug the hell out of that situation. No, I thought that was interesting. Funny, actually. The guy was all over it, taking all sorts of pictures. Becky Lynch says, "Nobody cares about your face. They want to see the champ's face." But what's amazing here is that despite the fact that Becky Lynch attacked Charlotte out of nowhere, took her out, posed atop the fallen, broken Charlotte Flair, the audience still popped. I don't know, like, if this was a last-ditch effort for WWE. It's like, well, if they still cheer for her after her attacking Charlotte from behind, I mean, there's nothing else we can do. I don't know. It was still good, a good little segment. And then we're told that Charlotte has been sent home for safety precautions, her health, whatever. Next, we have Sheamus versus Big E. The New Day come to the ring, and they want to play hashtag say something nice. So they start by saying, Cesaro, we make fun of your oddly shaped areolas. You kind of look like the Swiss Jason Statham, but you know what? We actually enjoy his movies, so that's something nice. Big E says to Sheamus, "Although your mohawk is quite distracting, the three of us have decided that the carpet matches the drapes." And I think Sheamus should have reached over faster to take the mic out of Big E's hand, because I thought it was kind of surprising that we have actual references to pubic hair on WWE television in 2018. I mean, there was a time this would have been actually kind of tame, but here it's like, wow, okay. I'm pretty sure Sheamus was supposed to cut him off a little faster than that. Anyway, Sheamus and Cesaro are fed up and cut this hashtag stuff short, and they go for it. Sheamus and Cesaro, not Sheamus and Cesaro, but Sheamus and Big E start laying into each other, and you know what we were expecting? We were expecting two big old dudes slapping each other around with their big meaty arms and legs and bodies, and that's exactly what happened, and it was fun. Big E hip tosses Sheamus over the top rope to the outside. That was pretty cool. Big E splashes Sheamus right on the apron, which, as you know, is the hardest part of the mat. He hits overhead belly to belly suplexes on Sheamus. Goes for a big splash in the ring, but Sheamus lifts his knees. Oh! He hits a power slam on Big E, covers for two. Big E counters a brogue kick into a jumping power bomb. Two big guys to be jumping into the air, even if it's not like cruiserweight height, it's still jumping into the air. That was crazy. Anyway, Big E went for a cover, only got two. He tries to go for the YOLO dive. It's interrupted with a big knee to the face. Sheamus reverses the big ending and hits a severe brogue kick for the win. But I mean, severe. That was a fun match. Like, it didn't last very long, but, Big E is really good. I think we have a tendency to forget that Sheamus is he's an old hand at this. And he's also a very, very capable, talented wrestler. I think the two of them have so much more to give us. You kind of want stuff like Drew McIntyre tossed into this scene and have some maniacal triple threat matches. Sheamus, Big E, and Drew. Woo! Man, that'd make the arena shake. Paige is backstage. She's telling AJ not to lose control because, you know, the monitors on the announce tables, you know, they're expensive. And Paige looks stressed, you know, she's very anxious about what's going to happen. AJ tries to reassure her, but, you know, folks, I'd like to take a moment here to just remind everyone, you know, if Paige is having a hard time dealing with Joe and AJ right now, you know, let's not forget that Samoa Joe was Paige's handpicked challenger for AJ Styles after he defeated Rusev at, what was it? What was the pay-per-view? Just Extreme Rules? Was that it? No. The pay-per-view just before SummerSlam. I can't remember. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But she's the one who handpicked him. So, you know, if she's like, oh, well, the guy is going a little too banana bonkers here right now, well, it's on you, Paige. You brought this on yourself. You have no one else to blame. You wanted the marquee match. You wanted the two guys, you know, who could tear each other apart. Well, that's your bed, and you slept in it, and now there's, you know, the bed sheets are all ruffled up, and the bed cover, the ends are like flipped over the mattress, you know, and you have to go tug them back. There's a lot of work to be put in to set this bed straight again, Paige, is what I'm saying. Before you go and sleep in it again, you're going to have to straighten a lot of stuff out. Lana is with Rusev backstage. He says Aiden is going to pay, but first of all, he wants answers, and that leads us into Rusev in the ring with Lana. He says Aiden, his friend, his partner, betrayed him on the greatest day of them all. And which day was that? It was Rusev Day. He asks Aiden to come out and explain himself. That's exactly what Aiden does. Now, I observed something here. I've been noticing something. Since they started turning Rusev babyface proper, he's been smiling a lot less. And I don't understand that, because one of the things that made him so endearing was this looseness that he has about himself, you know, that he can be serious and convincing about his character and his persona, but still maintaining a little air of levity. You know, I hope they don't try to force him to be too big a badass. But then I also have this theory, and I've said this a couple of times in the past, especially leading up to the breakup of Rusev Day. You know, if WWE are trying to position Rusev as a legitimate contender to a major title, Rusev then cannot be. WWE will have a problem with him if he comes across as a little goofy. They don't like their world champions to be goofy. They want him to be nice and serious and competitive, you know, rah, rah, rah. So maybe that's being factored in here. But it's a shame because Rusev is so incredibly charismatic, and he has a great sense of comedic timing. It's a great sense of timing, period. So Aiden comes out, and he says none of this is his fault. He says, before I met you, Rusev, you were the super athlete. And none of these people here, none of you people, he did that, just to make sure we understand he's the heel. None of these people here cared about you. You were floundering, you lacked direction, but I saw potential in you. And when I joined your side, I made you the most beloved superstar in WWE. Don't believe me? Then we go back to the original Rusev Day. And this is exactly like, when your favorite sitcom is finally coming to an end, like after 7 seasons of laughs and giggles and the good times. And then, it's the last episode and everyone sort of reminisces and there's clips and flashbacks of all the great moments. And this is exactly what it felt like. Damn you. And I was looking at the original Rusev Day, and I had a little tear in my eye. No. I hate you so much, WWE, for killing this off. We were destined to be legends, is what Aiden says. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. And he blames Lana. She happened. It was her fault that things started to sour. This whole mess is her fault. Things were so much better when it was just you and me instead of you and me and her. And he's kind of right. The minute Lana popped back into the scene, into the situation, Aiden and Rusev are doing fine. Well, Lana does. She starts to talk about how she used to guide Rusev to crush people, the WrestleMania tank, all that stuff, and Aiden's like, all right, fine, it's okay. I know you like to talk about all that stuff, but are you going to tell him about that night in Milwaukee? Milwaukee, of all places. I mean, we all sort of understand like the undercurrent here, the innuendo, right? We know what Aiden is hinting at, right? I don't have to spell it out too much. In Milwaukee? Milwaukee? People on Twitter were telling me, well, I mean, it's not, there's cornfields in Milwaukee, apparently. You visit a brewery, then what do you do in Milwaukee? So what is the deal with Milwaukee? What happened in Milwaukee? Milwaukee. The audience were so into this that they were chanting Milwaukee. You were in Denver and they're chanting Milwaukee. I think it's great. I can't wait to find out what was going on in Milwaukee. You want to bet it's not what we think? It's most definitely not what we think. But if it is, that'd be pretty cool, and would actually, here, let's pull him up here. If it did happen, then it would actually confirm or turn one of tonight's bold predictions right here not from Roger Renman, from Mike Baker, saying Lana dumps Rusev to go with Aiden English, saying that she's tired of being in Rusev's shadow. Like, we could be looking at this situation right here, right? Of course we could. I thought this was a super, super effective segment. Aiden did need all the room here. Rusev didn't speak much. Lana didn't speak much, but that wasn't the point. The point here was for Aiden's motivation, his character to come across so that we can fully understand what his motivations were to attack Rusev last week on Rusev Day. So it was well done. It was well produced. Wasn't over the top. And just that gives us enough intrigue. Just sprinkles a little intrigue on top. We're like, what's the deal? Like, what did happen in Milwaukee? I really want to know. Backstage, we have Naomi and Asuka, and they're working out. strong style, apparently, is what Naomi said. But the way Asuka was punching those pads, that wasn't strong style. She was holding back. Then we see Rusev and Lana who are backstage thinking about. Rusev is thinking about Milwaukee. He's kind of like, Milwaukee? When was the last time we were in Milwaukee? And then Becky Lynch arrives and tells Lana to stick it because she runs the women's division now. And if you got a problem, you look me up, kind of thing. That would set up a match for a little later on. Next match, we get Naomi and Asuka versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. They replay an encounter that happened earlier in the day where apparently Naomi and Asuka were being awkward buddies. Then Mandy and Sonya came in and they're not awkward buddies, and things escalated as they usually do in wrestling. So Asuka released German Sonya to get a hot tag to Naomi, who hits a Hurricane Rana on Mandy Rose. Big leg drop by Naomi, covers, only gets 2. Mandy Rose hits a big running knee on Naomi. That would look really, really good. Deville hits a beautiful sliding knee strike on Naomi. It was really, really good. She covers, and Asuka has to break up the pin. The end arrives when Sonya eats double heel kicks to the head. Or not, they weren't heel kicks. Sorry, they were just, no, they weren't heels. But they did do a double kick to the head, which looked, again, really great. Asuka covers for the win. Look, if they're going to pair these two up, and this is going to be their finisher, I like it. Looks good. Looks really, really good. Fun little match for what it was. The Iconics were watching the whole thing here. In case you didn't realize, because I didn't mention it, they were in commentary, chit chatting, letting Corey Graves say all sorts of wonderful things about them, and apparently they are going to be fighting each other. Not Corey Graves and the Iconics, but Naomi and Asuka against the Iconics in Australia, because the Iconics are Australians as well. So I am very much looking forward to the Iconics cutting a thank God we left Australia because there's nothing to do here type of promo, and see what kind of heat that generates. Because otherwise they are going to be doing quite a disservice to Asuka and Naomi. Kind of what they're doing, the kind of disservice they're going to do to Cedric Alexander. Do you mind a bit of an aside here? I talk about 205 Live over on FightfulSelect.com. Consider this a free preview of the kind of commentary and insight that I provide over on 205 Live. First of all, if you're not watching 205 Live, go watch it. It's fantastic every week. Great show. Cedric Alexander retained the Cruiserweight title last week against Drew Gulak. Now, what I thought was going to happen was that Alexander was going to drop the title last week to Drew Gulak because the Cruiserweight title is being defended at the Australian Super Showdown. Buddy Murphy is challenging. He's from Australia. So I was thinking that they were going to have Alexander drop the title to Drew Gulak, who is a heel, who is a despicable heel, so that he could come into the match, work as a heel, and let Buddy Murphy, who is going to be a hometown hero, not only because he's from Australia, he's from Melbourne. So I really thought that they were going to do that, have the heel come in as champion, and even though Buddy Murphy is a heel as well, for this one show in his hometown, let him work the babyface routine. But no, they let Cedric hang on to the title. And I think this is ill-advised. Cedric Alexander, for all his fantastic qualities, as far as being a fantastic wrestler. His persona is very dry. It's extremely bland. There's no real personality to Cedric Alexander. And what he's supposed to be is he's your typical fighting champion, babyface champion. And if he's going into Australia as the babyface, the very average babyface. He's not going. I can't see him starting working heel. I don't see how he can pull it off against Buddy Murphy. Murphy, who is going to be lauded and cheered the entire way through. It's an odd decision, I find. Just like it's an odd decision here. But I really think that as opposed to Murphy, who they should let him play the hometown guy, I think here the Iconics will probably are in a better position, much better position, and it works well in their character to come out, and say, oh, screw this stupid country. Thank God we live in the United States now, kind of thing. If they cut one of those promos, I think they can get away with it. Next, we have Ty Dillinger versus Shinsuke Nakamura, our U.S. champion. Dillinger comes out really strong against Shinsuke to start. He avoids a Kinshasa, hits a big splash from the top rope on Nakamura, goes for a cover, only gets 2. He mounts Shinsuke. He mounts Shinsuke in the corner, punching him. But then Randy Orton comes out, tosses him out off the turnbuckle, and starts beating him up. He forces the DQ. Ty wins the match. Nakamura sort of leaves the ring. And Ty just gets beaten up by Randy Orton for whatever reason. We don't know. He drapes Ty across the ring apron on the outside and DDTs him to the floor. He leaves. Nakamura returns, grabs his belt, sort of goes, turns around, and Kinshasa's Ty to the head, and his head bounces off the LED board. Ugh, didn't look good. And backstage, Randy Orton says, why did you just attack Ty? That's the question that he's asked. Randy Orton says, no, this guy's not my next victim. That has nothing to do with it. It's just that this 10 crap is just pissing me off. And I'm like, wow. Isn't this just like the perfect reason to just go beat someone up in wrestling? It's like, what this guy's doing when he goes to the ring? I can't stand it anymore. And he just runs in and he kicks his ass for no other reason than that. Here's the thing. Here's what's fantastic about this story here. You take Shinsuke. There's layers here. You take Shinsuke, who's defending the title. Not really, but this is part of his character. It's a heel champion. Against Ty, who has his match. You insert Randy Orton in here, who apparently is going to take a moment from destroying everyone that we love to instead focus on Ty Dillinger because he hates the 10 thing. Give a little airtime to Ty Dillinger, which is fine by me. Perhaps have a little feud with Randy Orton. Maybe elevate Ty a little more, but give him something to sink his teeth into. Maybe it'll be more than just one match. Maybe we can have a bit of a program here. That would be really cool. And everything just intertwines so wonderfully here. They're trying stuff out, things sinking in, moving around into things. I mean, Shinsuke still attacked Ty as well after the match. So Ty Dillinger basically has 2 potential nemeses to go after. I thought this was really, really interesting caught us off guard, caught me off guard. Wasn't expecting this. Was expecting Shinsuke to get a squash match. But man, we might be getting a little more, and I'm okay with this. We have Becky Lynch versus Lana. Becky is in control of this match at first, toying with Lana, but Lana takes Lynch down, bulldogs her to the mat, gives her a cover for 2. Lana hits a big kick to the head. Becky drops like a sack of potatoes, gets covered, but kicks out at 2. Match gets to the end when Lana goes to the top rope, and Becky just rips her off the turnbuckle. Lana just lands hard on the mat. She tries to fight out of the exploder, but can't. And after that, the disarmer for the win. I thought Lana looked really good. She's improving. She's improving every time you see her. She gets a little more crisp, a little more precise. The days of chanting "you can't wrestle" to Lana are over, if you ask me. She's no Sasha Banks. She's no Asuka. She's no Ember Moon. But she's there, and she's putting in the work, and it shows. So good on her. We see Aiden English backstage, who says that he has video evidence of what happened in Milwaukee next week. Can't wait to see that. Milwaukee? All right, contract signing. We finished with a main event segment this week. All hail the Attitude Era. So we get number 1 wrestling GM of all time, Paige, who's in the ring. Basically says, I know how these, we get all this stuff out. I know how these contract signings always end up. So let's just do it. AJ come out. AJ comes out. They get Joe to come out. No music, nothing hits. Where is Joe? AJ says, I'm not surprised. He's probably going to attack me from behind. Nope, but I have eyes all around my head tonight. Oh, but Joe's up on the Titantron. He says, AJ, look, I'm over here. They all do that. Hey, AJ, I'm over here. He says when we, as wrestlers, we go to far and exotic places. We travel all over the world, places we never thought we'd go. Just like where I am tonight, I never thought I'd be here. And he turns, there's a mailbox with the name Styles in big block letters written all across it. And he comes in and says, you're doing pretty good for yourself, AJ. Look at that. Beautiful house, white picket fence. And AJ is starting to freak out. He's like, oh my God, he's at my house. He's at my house. That's what he tells Paige. He says, do you feel helpless now, AJ? Is it morphing into horror because you can't do anything? You're all the way over there in Denver and I'm here in Gainesville, Georgia. Are you feeling guilty? Instead of being here and making a difference tonight, you cannot do anything. And I gotta admit, I was kind of marking out at this point because this is what I wanted. This is something that I had wanted to see for a couple of weeks now. Stalker, crazy Samoa Joe just ending up at AJ's house and just creating a very creepy, terrifying stalker atmosphere. This was real. This is what I was looking for. This is what I wanted. Says, AJ, I need you to get on your phone and call Wendy. Oh, wait, you don't bring your phone to the ring, do you? You're starting to feel angry. You feel that rage, AJ. Is it turning to fear? Are you falling to pieces? But remember that feeling because that's exactly the feeling you're going to be feeling when I beat you at Super Showdown. You stole the title from me. I told you there'd be consequences. And then he goes up to the door and says, should I just let myself in? No, that'd be rude. I'm going to ring the doorbell. Ding, ding. He rings the friggin' doorbell. And he says, Daddy's home. And the show just ends like that. Like cut. Black. No credit, no little credit logo at the end. It just, and you're like, oh, what's next? What's next? What's next? This is super intriguing. What is going on with WWE creating these intriguing situations? Again, I'm like, okay, I am ready to tune in for more next week because this has captivated my attention. I want to know what happens at this point on. Wow. I mean, what's cool is that this won't be going on too long. Next week is the go home show for Super Showdown, so we'll be quickly bringing this into resolution mode. This was so good. It was another fantastic segment, and I was surprised. I was surprised at what they did, and it made me happy because this is something that I wanted. It's building to something hopefully big. And just the way they ended the show, no reaction from AJ back in the ring, nothing. It's like blank, we're out of time. Wow. I liked tonight's episode of SmackDown. I liked last night's episode of SmackDown. I liked Raw 2 days ago. I liked it. I liked it all. It was a lot of fun. So that's how we're going to conclude the review today. On a note of positivity, saying good job, WWE Creative. I feel you're hitting some kind of stride right now. Something's happened. There's been a switch. You're putting people I want to see on TV, putting them in interesting positions. You're giving me reasons for me to care about them. So good job. Good job. Speaking of thumbs up, why don't you thumbs up this video if you liked it? And if you didn't, the thumbs down button is right there as well. You can subscribe. You can share the video. You can find me at tinyurl.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. That's where all my videos are. That's where I do most of my stuff. You can also follow me on Twitter, Mr. Warren Hayes. I'm there a lot, quite a bit. Love chatting wrestling with all of y'all. It's always a lot of fun. And thank you so very, very much, folks, for hanging out with me till the very end of this video. I truly appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.